So from my aspect, we're going to look at the address position, how far that ball is in the back of your stance. Okay. We're going to talk about this being probably a little bit behind, more behind the or lack of leverage or straight lever system anyway at address. So it's going to have to be manipulated to get back there.
Yeah. Okay.
To start with, so we're probably going to pop that golf ball just a little bit further forward in your stance.
Yeah.
Essentially, the bottom of the golf swing is underneath your left shoulder. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but
Yeah. Okay.
but that's the bottom of the golf swing. The more you hit down on it here, the more the further back you've got it,
Yeah.
the more you're going to hit it down, which then the golf club is projected that way a lot more.
Yeah. Okay.
And also the club face is well open as well.
Yeah.
Yet you've got this path that's moving that way with an open club face, and hence the reason why
Yeah. Yeah.
we see that. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a bit going on just at address, and as we start moving back, what kind of engineer are you?
Structural.
All right. So if I move the hub,
Yeah.
it's going to change the contact point with the ground, right?
Yeah.
All right. And then we'll start talking about center of mass versus center of pressure.
Yeah. Right.
So center of mass has moved a long way
Yeah.
to try and get the feeling that you're loading into that right side. Okay. Just by purely what we're trying to get is the two axes on top of each other. So in other words, your sternum and your belly button directly on top of each other. So you don't have to move around so much.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about how you actually let go of the golf club up here, trying to create some lag, which is an interesting word in itself. So we just move around a bit too much.
Yeah. Right.
So that's the inconsistency where you'll play 3 or 4 really nice holes,
Yeah.
and then you'll play some interesting stuff,
Yeah.
and it'll feel the same. So now in 2/100ths of a second, it's got to get from there to back to here.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. I can definitely feel like I overswing.
Yeah, and that's more to do with the fact that your body's moving a lot and
Yeah,
you've
right.
created so much leverage. Your wrist mechanics, your wrists will only get to 90 degrees, right?
Yeah.
With the shaft. As you go past that, you've either got to cup your left wrist
Yeah,
to get
right.
more, and then let go with those 2 fingers. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden, then we create too much,
Yeah.
and we don't. There's just too much going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from my aspect, the first thing that we're going to start with is get your body working properly. As that's going to deliver the golf club a little bit more efficiently to start with. We will see some interesting shots to begin with,
Yeah.
because mentally, essentially, we're going to turn your world upside down. We're going to get you to stay a lot more stable.
Yeah.
Now, every book under the sun and everybody that ever talks about the golf swing says you've got to load into your right side. Now, then from a pure subconscious, we
Yeah, right.
start moving that way
Yeah.
to try and load into that right side, and that's not quite what it means. So you watch every good player in the world, and there's your center of mass. It won't really move that
Yeah.
much. But if I get you to stand there and just take your arms over here, your center of pressure moves that way anyway,
Yeah. Right.
whether you like it or not. Then you add the rotational force of this sucker moving at 86 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's moving over there anyway.
Yeah.
So we don't really need to try
Yeah.
as far as that's concerned. So we're going to talk about a little bit of pressure in that left foot, and you're going to feel like it stays there the whole way. But we'll talk about the address position to begin with.
All right.
Now, due to that moving is the reason why it changes plane on
Yeah,
a regular basis there. So, in other words, that's why it's going in here.
Yeah.
In that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you move that over there, then change it and come back again, it's then going to project the golf club
Yeah,
out and
yeah,
over.
right.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we just don't. We stabilise your body. We'll stabilise a lot of the stuff here.
Cool.
Okay. That's actually not that far away from being good, right? It needs to be there.
Yeah.
Okay. With a slightly less open club face, and that's what we're talking about with wrist angles there before. But that it's not a bad move. We just got to stabilise it.
Cool.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And when we
Funny looking at it in.
yeah, none of us like looking at our golf swings. I can give you the It doesn't matter who you are. Rory, Tiger, Adam Scott. None of us like looking at it because we know the idiosyncrasies of our own golf swing.
Yeah.
It's all relative. We think, if you looked at Adam Scott's and thought you were Adam Scott right now, you go, oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But the reality is, Adam Scott's been looking at his golf swing for
Yeah.
30 years or whatever.
Beauty of the game.
Yeah, and we never like what we see.
Never stops.